Hi, everyone, and welcome to Alive in the Archive. I'm Eliza Samuelson here with the Feminist Institute, a not-for-profit organization dedicated to collecting, digitizing, and archiving feminist works of art, literature, patents, business, and politics, and creating our archive globally accessible for free. In this episode, I get the pleasure of talking to musician, producer, and performance artist, Peaches. Peaches, welcome to Alive in the Archive.
Thanks. Nice to be here.
So, Peaches, throughout your career, you have really pushed boundaries within multiple different industries and leaned into an authentic display of self. What role has your identity played in breaking barriers as a musician, producer, and director to find the success that you have?
I think, thank you for the intro. And I think that what you said kind of is the key to it. It was just to be authenticity. Like it was just things that I wanted to say, things I was really feeling, and finding the right medium to express them. So that led me to, direct a film or make a solo installation, immersive artwork, or make sure that performance on stage has a powerful message and excitement that I want to bring to everybody, and that the music speaks directly to what I believe in.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you've done such an interesting, way of expressing yourself throughout your career of really honing in on individuality in different industries, whether that's directly through your music or through more performance art pieces or, the videos that you've directed. And that kind of work in and of itself is, preserving your legacy for what it speaks for itself. And at the Feminist Institute, we believe that personal archiving is a feminist act. So I'm kind of curious, of the items that you have actively archived, what you think is the most important or what says the most about your legacy as a feminist.
It's funny because you're really putting the answer in the question. I'm not just trying to get out of it easily, but I actually have an extensive archive. Maybe I'm just a hoarder, but or maybe I just can't even believe all the things and all the things that have happened to me and the things that I've been involved in. So I mean, I probably have like 8,000 hours of video footage of traveling, live shows, discussions, interviews, little acts of joy along the way. Keeping lyrics, keeping all my costumes, keeping instruments that have been adorned or have been exercised for the stage. But I really feel like, and it's just funny that the actual albums are such a good archive of work because they say so much about the time, the time and place, and what was going on at then, especially I would say, surprisingly, Fatherfucker, the album, which is my second album, which was very confusing for people. I think it was very easy for people to love Teachers of Peaches and found it, like really their own. But in terms of where the world was at and how what I was saying was perceived, it was really on the edge. It was almost a little bit too on the edge for people. But if you look back at it now, it almost reads as a binary work. Like if you listen to it now, maybe not, maybe I'm being a little hard on myself, but it's amazing. Just the language has changed, and the way, of course, I believe everything grows exponentially in every direction. So more conservative, more liberal, more, more everything, it depends on what perspective or which path you choose to follow. But it grows in every direction. But in terms of in terms of a queer perspective, it's really like a piece of history that has changed so much. Because I was talking a lot about spectrum. That's why it was called Fatherfucker. It was like a sort of motherfucker. And I have a beard on the cover, which I think I would never do. It's more right now. I mean, why I did it then was it was mostly to honor Jennifer Miller and her family's history of very, I know there's a technical word for it, but hairy, hairy women, and how they were obsessed with, getting rid of their hair. And Jennifer Miller, as an artist, was like, it's beautiful, and I'm going to
Mhm.
keep my beard, and I'm going to make this beautiful calendar, this nude calendar of my gorgeous female identified body. And and so to me that spoke of the male, female, but of course there's so many, it's such a spectrum, and we didn't have the language at that
Right.
point to
Right.
express it all. So I was always like, there's a bit of men and there's a bit of woman in me always. So that's how I really think it's a great piece of archival history.
Right. Has
Yeah.
your kind of perspective, or I guess the importance of archiving, changed or evolved as you've matured through your career?
It's definitely grown.
Yeah.
um my perspective of archiving, I think I haven't even delved into it so much. I think
Mm.
when I finally get a chance to look at all the footage and to really understand why I had these costumes or what they meant to me, these sort of like multiple breasts, or
Mhm.
hair growing from different places, and why I chose those things. And I think I'm going to really have a fantastic perspective of it. So right now, even though it's 20 years in, it's just collecting, collecting, collecting. I had an actual archival space,
Mm.
um, but I rented it, and so now it's in a container. And I'm excited because I've bought a place that I'm going to have a chance to live with it and work with it and
Mhm.
understand more.
Yeah.
So um, I'm really happy that I decided to keep all the things. I wasn't really sure. Like I said, I was just very appreciative and also a little bit overwhelmed about all the, um, being accepted and misunderstood and having a voice, and um, really using it, and understanding that I can be empowered and help people to figure out their perspective. So
Right.
yeah.
One of your superpowers as an artist that you've kind of leaned into is your ability to create like a discography that tackles subject matter that can be viewed as contentious, I guess. So I'm interested to kind of hear your perspective on how you use your music as a vehicle to voice your activism on gender politics, sexual identity, ageism, and the patriarchy.
That's exactly right. Yeah, no, that's the point. I mean, I use music because I also love music, and love the artistry, and love that I am able to use it for perspectives that I felt were not being met with respect in the
Mm.
patriarchal sense. So it was very exciting for me, just to write this, and then to be able to uh, express this around the world, and find people who were inspired by this, and who also enjoyed and
Mm.
celebrated. So that was very important for me. I think that's why it's through music, so that we could, work through all these issues and find a sense of community
Mhm.
and queerness, but also to in a celebratory way,
Mhm. Yeah.
but that which doesn't lessen the seriousness of it or lessen the sort of power of it.
Mhm.
I
But
think that
that
strengthens it, actually.
right. And this kind of, mutual understanding or coming together through that avenue and through your process, is something relatable. So yeah, well, great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time to
Thanks.
participate today.
Yeah.
I really
Of
appreciate
course.
your candor and sincerity, and getting to talk to you a little bit more. So thank you.
Thanks.
Uh,
Take care. Ciao.